Unless you've been living under a rock in the last few months, you've realized that Facebook, Google, TikTok are taking more and more away from your day-to-day as a media buyer. Back in December, I made a video that kind of blew up on the channel, which was every media buyer will lose their jobs this year. But I didn't really offer a solution, and I really think that most media buyers will start to transition into becoming what is now commonly called a creative strategist. Now, most commonly, people are saying that you should split the roles of a media buyer or a creative strategist, and I don't think this is the right way to do it. In today's video, I want to talk our entire creative strategy process and how are our media buyers involved into that and how we are slowly transitioning them into a hybrid between a creative strategist and a media buyer. And why I think this is going to become the new norm, to have some form of hybrid between the two this year. Today's video is brought to you by Motion app, which we have now been using for over 3 months at the agency for every single Wizzo Media client. And I've just loved using the software so much that I decided to make an entire video on it and collaborate with the guys on their team. Now, just as a quick intro to myself, if you don't know who I am, my name is Justin, and I'm the founder at Wizzo Media, an e-commerce marketing agency working with 7- and 8-figure e-commerce brands. And we've also just released Peak Ad, which is our new consultancy helping brand owners that are just starting out with their e-commerce business grow to that $500,000 a year mark. So with that being said, to get straight into today's topic, I first want to touch on Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, because this will kind of direct the angle of today's video. If you're not aware of what an Advantage Plus shopping campaign is on Facebook, it basically is a campaign where you have very little involved in the targeting and the setup of that campaign, and pretty much 99% of your work is spent on the creative level. So most recently, you've heard a lot of YouTubers online, and I even made videos talking about that strategy, which a lot of people were claiming that the new way to run ads this year is to have one campaign and just to throw everything inside of it. So you had one campaign, you would do retargeting, cold, and put all of your ads within that singular campaign, which, don't get me wrong, was actually a great solution. We've tested that with some of our clients, and basically in this campaign, you have to leave it broad. When you look at Advantage Plus, it basically does that, but it's on Facebook's end. It's not even a tactic anymore. Facebook is literally giving you a campaign type that does all of that for you. So where am I going with this? I've made a video literally less than 2 months ago at this point saying that media buyers' jobs would go extinct. And about 2 months later, Facebook is coming out with this campaign type where they're taking away all of your targeting capabilities, and they're saying, trust us, we got you, just focus on the creative level. And I also recently talked about the Meta Performance 5, which is Facebook's 5 pillars that they released in the last few weeks around how to get good results on their ad platform. And one of their main points, which they spent a lot of time talking about it, is creative. They talk about how you should use UGC, which they literally call out right here. They talk about spending time having a good creative concept. They also talk about creative diversification, so adding more ad styles and testing different creative concepts within your ads. So with that being said, Facebook again is literally now kind of telling you, hey, if you haven't started focusing on the ad level, if you're not taking creative strategy seriously, you're out of the loop, man. So with all of that context aside, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Get ready to look at my screen, take some screenshots if you need to. I'm about to share with you the entire sauce, all of our secrets, and what we do at the agency when we plan our creative strategy. So the first natural way for us to start something new with a new client, or even to start a new campaign with a current client, we'll start with the research and analysis phase. So we want to analyze as much as possible about the current brand, their competitors, the market, and more. So originally, in the traditional way of doing research and looking into a brand's data is looking into their ads manager, it's looking into their Google Analytics, it's analyzing the competition. But with the help of Motion, we now have access to a ton more data to do that. So here are some of the reports that they've made for our team that I think are really, really useful. So the first one is the creative type comparison, which in this case, they tell you, they basically benchmark your images versus videos, carousels, if you're doing dynamic creative ads, etc. They're gonna split those stats. And again, this works even if this is a new ad account. So the beauty with Motion is that it can actually go back in time and look at the ads that were already live with that account prior to having Motion. So basically, Motion is a way for you to display the existing data within Facebook or TikTok Ads Manager in a neat way for you to understand specific trends. So in this case, it would be a creative type comparison. So looking into that creative type comparison, it kind of tells me from the start what formats work best for that client. Then there's video drop off, which we also love to look at. This is basically the best for low hanging fruits. For most of our clients, if they come in, they might already have been running ads, and there might be current ads that they have that, look, they just need a couple tweaks here and there to actually be transformed into top performers instead of us creating a bunch of new ads from the start. So this allows us to actually get started faster and inevitably get client results faster too. So going back to the process, we start with market and brand analysis. Now here's the document that we use to lay all of that out. So we've got this 3-month outline, which again, if a new client joins or even an ongoing client, would love to update that document. So we're usually going to talk about platforms in themselves, so the platforms that we think we should attack for that client. Then the overarching strategy that is usually based on our findings. So we might refer back to specific brands and competitors right here. We might also refer back to some of the stats that we've found on Motion or on Google Analytics as an example. Then it's the strategy outline, where we're essentially going to map out the entire ad account structure on a Google Sheet first before it ever sees the light of day on the ad account. Now the media buyer is the one doing that, and this allows us to have some level of QA internally so that the manager can actually come in and validate whether or not that strategy makes sense, and so also that the clients can just look at a glance what's the overall macro strategy that we're going to be using for each ad channel. Now this is a lot more macro. Now if we kind of zoom in into the ad process and talk about our ad strategy. So we got our ad name generator right here, which again, based on our strategy, we should have already figured out what is the product we want to advertise. So the P in Polka, what is the offer that we want to run? Is this that we're going to play on the new year, the birthday? It might also just be a bundle. So offer can be honestly very large. Then the collection. So which collection is that product into? If there's a creator involved, so if it's a UGC piece, then who's that creator? And last but not least, the angle. So those are our 5 main pillars. We also have 6 sub pillars that we are going to be using under the angle, which are going to allow us to track specific other variables that are only to be used in some client cases. But with that being said, what this allows you to do is the following 2 things. First of all, organize yourself. You're able to actually track everything that you would be running with your ads. You're able to split test also a lot of variables from that system. Why? Well, you're able to split test different variables because this is the ad name for the media buyer. So basically what the media buyer is going to be using, and that gives them a general idea of what is the ad running. Then the system will output you an ad name and a shortcode to use on the ads manager. Now that shortcode can be tracked using Motion. So on Motion, again, you can make any type of custom report. So if I look at this report right here as an example, the video drop off technically is a custom report. The ad type is video, and it shows essentially filters about these videos. It shows the 25% video play rate, 50%, 75%, and 100%. But I could also come in here and make a report and tell Motion, hey, pull out every single ad that has the shortcode P1 within the ad. And if I go back to my Polka tracking system, I can figure out that P1 is actually a shoe. And again, right now this is very large, but in your case, this might be a collagen bottle of supplements, which you only got one of those, right? So this is a unique tracking code so that, let's say a year down the line, you've ran maybe 40, 50 ads about that same product. Well, you can track and extract the data only for that specific product. So every instance that you've used that specific collagen supplement bottle, then you would be able to actually see how it performed through time. And not only that, you can actually benchmark it with any other variable that you're using. So this is honestly pretty advanced, what I'm talking about here. So this is not some beginner level stuff, but bear with me here for a second. You can actually create a report and benchmark product versus offer. Look, we used P1 at 40 different occasions, but we used 3 different offers with P1. Let me export a report and see how P1 performed with offer 1, 2, and 3, which could be, in that case, a short code could be 01, 02, or 03. So we codify our ad names in order to track the reports and the performances of each of these ads. Now, when it comes to actually creating ads and creating UGC, we've got this folder in-house that we've called TikTok ad types. Honestly, this, I gotta shout out Michael Sanchez real quick. He's gotten this document, I think it was like a few months ago that he released this 300 TikTok intro hooks. Now I think there's an updated version with 600 of them, but that has been something that we've referred to internally for a while. And we've also made some visual examples and links to actual TikToks for some of the most common ones that we use internally. And for most of our creative research that we give our creative editing team, which I'm about to kind of share with you in a second how we communicate that information, but all of it is done through Foreplay. If you're not familiar with the tool Foreplay, we use that internally for, again, anything in terms of creative research and creating swipe files. And we've tried to use their brief feature a little bit here and there, but it's honestly mostly for their discovery tab that we love to use Foreplay. We don't even really open the Facebook ad library nor the TikTok creative center anymore. It's honestly all found on Foreplay. And by the way, not to toot my own horn, but apparently I've been quite a Foreplay expert. Wink, wink. And I'm gonna have my own swipe file listed publicly on foreplay.co/experts not over these next few weeks. So once we have our ad names, once we have the overarching strategy as I shared right here, once we've actually chosen what creative concepts we're gonna run, we're gonna start planning that right here. So right here, we're gonna start writing down some copy, which we're usually gonna use a combination of AI tools like Jasper, as well as the media bar is gonna help with that copy. And then this is where we would usually link back to the creative. So creative process internally is all managed through ClickUp, literally everything. So all the communication between our editors and our media buyers is done through ClickUp. Now I gotta mention for Motion, which again, we've been using for every single client at the agency for the last few months, there will be a code in the description down below for you to get 10% off your Motion subscription. So I'm also gonna put the code on screen right now. Make sure you use that at checkout and you're gonna be able to get 10% off your Motion app subscription for your first 3 months. So to kind of wrap everything up and do a summary, this is the creative process that we use internally, and this is where the media buyer plays a key role within that. We've honestly kind of stepped away, specifically on Meta and TikTok in general. We've kind of stepped away from trying to do these media buying tactics and tricks. Account structure has honestly become so simplified that there's barely any time spent in making the account structure that much more effective. Most of our time is spent on iterating on the existing creatives or coming up with new creative concepts through the methods shown in this video. Now, Google is obviously a different beast where we still require some media buying. So our media buyers do still spend some time doing some media buying when it comes to Google. So with that being said, if you are listening to this video and you are a media buyer, then this is where you want to transition into. You must be aware of creative strategy. You must embrace that change in order to keep your job eventually. Once again, check out the description down below to benefit from 10% off of your first 3 months with Motion app. Thanks again, Motion, for sponsoring today's video. And on that note, check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.